This episode is not sponsored, but we encourage you to help support the small businesses, charities, and organisations that we mention.
Hi everyone, welcome back to another episode of Our Circle. I'm Rhiannon.
And I'm Jess.
And today we want to talk about uni. I guess we want to reminisce a little. It's around the time that everyone in the UK is taking their exams to get into uni. And I know, Jess, you were saying that your cousin is currently in the middle of her exams, is it?
Yeah, she's taking her A-levels to hopefully become a vet.
Oh, wow, fun.
Yeah.
So I think it's kind of fitting for us to have a little time to reminisce about uni. And Jess and I have different uni experiences because I stayed at home for uni, whereas Jess moved away. And I guess there's going to be quite a few differences with that. And I also kind of want to talk about the differences of when we were at uni compared to kids at uni now, because we've been out of uni longer than we were in it now, which sounds disgusting.
That is scary to think about.
And you went through quite a lot during your uni experience. So I want to get into it. So you didn't stay or go to a uni anywhere near home?
No, I went to uni in Cardiff. It was my first choice. I kind of had it in my head that I wanted like the full experience, as in I didn't want to stay at home. I was very ready to move out. I felt like, I don't know, I was at a place with my relationship with my parents where I was like, right, I need to move out. Like, this is getting too much, because I was like, I'm 18, I'm so grown up, like I need to have this independence. I think, yeah, it was just like a natural kind of next step for me, it felt like. And I really absolutely loved uni. I really, really loved the uni life.
Did you always know you wanted to go to uni as well? Like, had that always been in your plan?
Yeah, but I felt it was kind of in my plan for me, like my family.
Oh, like your
were
family.
like, right, yeah, so you go to school and then you go to uni, and I'm like, oh, okay, cool, that's happening for me. Yeah, so I didn't really know any different, and
Right.
I don't regret it. I absolutely loved it, and I got a qualification out of it, so that's great.
So I actually, the uni I went to wasn't my first choice. It was my backup choice. I didn't get into my first choice. My first choice was to go down to Bournemouth. And I think I would have had such a different life had I got into that university.
100%.
I just, yeah. And I don't know if that's, well, no, I can't like regret it or think, oh, I wonder if that would have been a better thing for me or not. But I remember when I looked at the uni that I went to, like when you go to the open days, and I think there was a part of me that was just like, oh, I wish this was like away, like so that I could move out, sort of thing. But I loved the course, like I loved what they were offering. I was like, this is actually more me. And it's quite small classes, one, because some universities are like such massive lecture theatres and like the amount of people that are in the classes, whereas mine was very small and intimate. And I think that really helped because I got a lot of one-on-one time with like my professors and stuff like that. So when I didn't get into my first choice, getting into my backup didn't actually feel like the end of the world, sort of thing. I think probably on the day I was just like, oh shit, what's happening now to my life, sort of thing. I'm staying put. But
I remember you being really, I don't know, I think you were kind of not processed it yet, because we were going out that night, weren't we? We were like, whatever happens, whatever the results are, we're going out. And I think it was you and Soph, didn't you, came around to my mum and dad?
because you didn't originally get straight into your one either, because of stupid results or something.
Yeah, it was a long story, but my results got messed up, and I just kept pestering Cardiff like every day, and then eventually got a space. They're like, fine, just let her in so she stops calling us. But also, if you move out and you move into halls, you usually get to choose which ones. You sort of have a list of preferences. You put like your first preference, I think it's choose 3 or something like that. I obviously have my list of preferences, and everyone put the more modern ones where you've got your own sort of bathroom in your room, and there's a bit more privacy. And because obviously I didn't get the place straight away, I got one of they were seen as like the more grotty kind of halls. And I was like, oh gosh, but I was kind of so excited to have got in that I didn't really care that much.
Yeah.
It was also a little bit further out, so what was provided for us, which was great, was like free buses. So like the uni would send a bus like every like couple of hours or something like that
Oh, wow.
to our halls, and then obviously like up to a certain time, like when you would have lectures, it wasn't like, oh, now it's a party bus and like you can go out, which would have been great. Probably would have saved us some money. But what I found, so the differences was that my grotty halls had uh we had a shared we had more people sharing a kitchen, for example. So whereas like in the nicer halls, you might have maybe 6 people to a kitchen, I think we had like 10 or something like that. And then we had 12 people to a bathroom,
I feel like
which
this would
was,
have been like your work. Like, imagining you doing this now, I feel like you would hate this.
well, I don't like, I don't know. I think it's like, it makes me think of camping. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, when you have like shared,
Yeah,
I don't know, that I don't like, when we
like
go to
communal
festivals and
stuff,
things like that. Yeah, like communal kind of, they remind me of like
environment.
prison or something. Like, not that I know what prison's like, but I imagine it to be kind of, you just all pile into these like row of showers.
So,
It wasn't as
but did you
bad as
feel
I
like that? I
thought.
was gonna say when you got there and you're like, oh crap, I'm gonna be sharing a bathroom with 12 people. I'm gonna be sharing a kitchen with 10 people. Did it feel like you were in prison, or were you like, oh my God, I'm so excited, this is cool?
It was,
Or neither?
I don't know, I don't think I really took it in. I was, like, just excited because when we got there, it's freshers, it was 2 weeks of freshers. I was like, yes, like, just kind of,
Freshers is partying, for anyone who doesn't know what that is.
yeah, it's that the first couple of weeks where you settle in, you haven't got any, I don't think you really have any lectures at that point. It's just settling in and going out basically and getting to know people that you're living with or that you're gonna be on the same course with. It was, yeah, I don't remember thinking it was that much of an issue. I remember thinking, "Oh, it would be nice to have my own bathroom." But what I look back on and think it was great for was that you're forced to go out of your room, you're forced to socialize. You
Right.
have to go out of your room to go to the toilet. You have to go out of your room to make food. And that's a really good thing, especially with mental health at uni, because as a young adult, that time in your life is you're particularly prevalent to mental health struggles. And not being forced to leave your room and to talk to people meant, if you had a bathroom in your room and you could, I know you had a mini fridge in your room, like you could essentially stay there and not have to interact with anyone.
Mm,
Whereas we were forced to do that, forced to make friends. I don't know, it just felt like it was more of a community.
mm.
And I loved it. I absolutely loved it. It was noisy, don't get me wrong, there were some like downsides to it, but actually looking back, I think it really helped me, the fact it was so open and I was getting to know people around me as well. I could trust people more.
Mm.
It was, yeah, there was kind of all these factors that played into it, but I can't even imagine now, especially the last couple of years, how different people's uni experiences must be compared to, what I had and what you had,
Yeah, I feel
all
like
those years ago.
especially, well, oh God. I feel like as well though, is I mean, obviously taking into the pandemic, that is such a different uni experience. I can't even begin to imagine what that was like. I mean, I know a lot of people who were at uni when they were like I think they were my friends' sibling, like younger siblings and stuff like that during the pandemic. They were sent home pretty much. So they didn't get to
Yeah,
have that experience, I guess, straight away. I think maybe now they're probably making up for it. But
yeah,
from what I see online through TikTok and things like that, I'm seeing people, it's like the maybe the resources that they have available to them. Like I would have never have thought to have done some of the things that they do, whether it's the way that they study or what they're doing in their halls or their homes. Like I've seen like some kids, they've found furniture that they want to like upcycle and make into a cool place for them to live in. They've gone on like these days out to go and collect stuff from Facebook Marketplace from someone who lives like, I don't know, X amount of trains and buses away, and they all make a day of it. I'm like, oh my God, you're so adorable, sort of old school. Like, I don't know, it's just there's quite a lot of things that I'm seeing online, and I just think I would have never have even thought to do that at uni ever.
yeah, because, yeah, I don't think I really decorated any of my rooms that I stayed in.
Oh, really?
I'm so weird like this. I don't even feel like the home that I'm in now, I've done too much to, and I think there's something
I mean, you have a
weird and
lot going on.
psychological in it. There's something weird about, I know I'm not gonna be here forever, so I don't wanna settle and I don't wanna change too much. I don't wanna put, it's almost like preserving my energy. Like,
Fair enough.
I don't wanna change too much because I'm not gonna be here for very long. And that's how I felt like at uni. I was like, I know I'm only gonna be in halls for like a year. I barely put pictures up. The only thing that was really personalized was like my sheets. Like I
I'm
chose some sheets that I liked. That was it.
I'm the complete opposite. I
Mm,
have to have like
make it homely.
my space feel like even when my friends or whatever are moving in, I'm trying to think of stuff that I think that they'll like to help them feel like that they've furnished or whatever something
Mm.
immediately. And I don't know, I think that's also just a guilty pleasure. Well, no, it's not even guilty. It's just a pleasure of mine to like design stuff or like decorate things and plan things, I guess. But it's to the extent that these kids are doing it. And I think it is definitely thanks to social media and stuff. Because when I think about when I was at uni, I only got Instagram when I got to like my second year of uni. That was when I first got Instagram. I think that was when I got Snapchat. Like I sort of was a bit more awake to the social world, I guess, other than Facebook, which I had already had. And when you think about what's available out there aesthetic wise, things to do, entertainment, groups, all that sort of stuff, and societies, blah 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 blah, like the only way that I sort of really had access to that when I was at uni, I think, was through sort of emails and word of mouth, which makes me sound like I went to uni in the 90s.
Yeah, like
And
even I saw stuff on Facebook and Instagram
I
while I
mean, there
was
was
at
like
uni.
stuff on Facebook, but I mean, like I said, though, I didn't have Instagram, or I wasn't following uni stuff on Instagram. And I
Yeah.
think that also may be to do with the fact of where I went to uni and stuff. Like I lived at home and I would commute to uni. So
Mm.
I think there's probably a point where I was just like, okay, I'm living at home. I don't need to be doing that type of uni experience. I think that was probably good for me in some ways because of my mental health at the time. I feel like uni was when I was probably at one of my most happiest times of my life, especially my
Mm.
final year, which is so controversial because that's usually when everyone's at their worst. But it was literally one of my favorite ever years of my existence was my final year at uni. And that was because all of my friends, like you make your solid friends by then. You're all
Yeah.
like such a team. And I did a media arts degree, so it was heavy on being creative and being doing production based things. It wasn't theoretical stuff. So we weren't like in lecture halls listening to talks and all that sort of stuff. We were like making stuff. And that was just amazing to me, like just being around creative people 24/7,
Mm.
me being allowed, like I'm literally going to university to just be creative. That was just the dream. And
Yeah.
I barely slept. I didn't need to sleep. I was just on one and I loved it. It was just
You're bloody supporting me the whole time as well, on no sleep, doing your final stuff. Oh
I
my
just
God.
remember like my one of my big deadline weeks. It was, so for context, so you have dissertations. I don't know, what are they called, dissertations in America and internationally as well, whatever that,
No
like
idea.
your final big thing that you hand in. A
Yeah.
lot of people,
Your
it's usually
biggest
like a
piece of
paper.
work.
Yeah, it's like an essay paper of lots of words, or if you do a creative subject like myself, it's like a product, I guess. And I went with like an original idea that hadn't been done before at the university, where I made like an EP, but I had to have some sort of theory behind it. So I did it based on 21 songs from 21 years before I was born. And it was just like this whole like concept thing anyway. And it took a lot of different versions of production, so from sound and pre-production and just so many different things. I sound like a complete nerd, but I just, it was the best time. And towards the end, I was doing like my final editing stuff. So I was editing 21 videos at once, and also at the same time support my peers who were supporting me as well. So like they were creating their own dissertations and stuff and they needed help. So we were all pulling hours like crazy. I think I slept under the table at my editing studio one night and I couldn't sleep. I was too like a wide awake. I just wanted to keep working. And I just remember
Mm.
that feeling of like, this feels amazing. Like I want to keep doing this. Like if I can run on this for life, I would.
Yeah.
And I'd be like going to the gym as well straight after and just not sleeping. Then I'd be messaging Jess, be like, oh, it's time to email Jess. It was just a bit nuts. I don't know how like I managed to function, but I loved it. That was one of my favorite times ever.
Yeah.
Whereas I feel
I
like
think
you're like,
everyone looks back at things differently. No, but
Your
I
last year was
remember.
very different though to mine.
Yeah, I mean, I'm so grateful that you were in a great place
Right?
to from a
To
really
help
selfish
you.
point of view
No,
for
no,
me,
no.
because
I
I
agree.
needed that support and I was so in my own bubble of worries and anxiety. It was just a surreal, like, I
Don't you
look at
think
it now and it feels like I've had an out of body experience. Like, I don't think I was actually with it. Like,
that's how I felt about like when I was 17 and doing A levels. Like I don't relate to
yeah,
that
don't you just feel
person
like
at
you
all.
block stuff?
Absolutely.
So
And I
weird.
I plan to keep it blocked. But,
Let's never revisit that.
yeah, ever. But I feel like I completely agree though, because I was at such a good mental place, like mental state of mind in my final year, which thank goodness, because I don't know how else I would have coped. But I think,
Yeah.
like you said, because I was so yay me, things are good. Go on, anyone, throw something at me. Jess, you're not feeling good. Let me talk to you. Like, let's go. And I think that's kind of like what kind of how it went, wasn't it?
Like, the patience that you had for me, like, the amount I would say the same thing, I think, to you, like, pretty much every day, and the patience that you somehow managed to respond with something slightly different, like, every time.
Like a
Oh my
thesaurus.
god. Honestly, I will forever be in debt to you for that because I
Oh, as
genuinely think
if.
you got me through that. No, 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 you got me through that year. I was in, like, the worst mental place ever,
I hate
and
that for you though, like thinking about my best year being your worst.
no, but, like, weirdly enough that some things happen. I broke up with my boyfriend, like, just before graduation,
And you'd had
and that was
serious
pretty
surgery
shitty,
as
but, like,
well.
yeah, and I yeah, I had physical and mental health issues in that final year, but I don't look back at uni that doesn't taint my uni experience.
Mm,
I look back at uni, I don't even think about my romantic relationships.
mm,
I only think about my going out with my friends and living with my friends and having fun, which I'm so grateful for. I'm so,
yeah.
so glad that I've only chosen my brain has chosen to hold on to those memories. Thank you,
Don't
brain,
you
for something.
don't you think it's really ironic as well that you were going through such like mental, I was gonna say trauma,
Turmoil.
but like mental issues, and you were studying psychology?
Yeah, but this
Do you
is
reckon
it,
that was
like, this
triggering?
no,
Oh,
but, like,
okay.
no, I think there was a couple of points where I was like, "Why do I not understand myself?" And it really kind of, like, not that I needed this, I don't know how to explain it other than, like, made me realize that it affects every single person, no matter, like, how
Mm,
much you might be more of an expert in a certain field or know a bit more about like how the brain works. It doesn't mean that you won't have to surrender to that kind of an issue at some point in your life. Like, my mum would joke sometimes, and it's a bit annoying, but she'll say things like, "Oh, but you studied psychology, like, why are you getting so, like, agitated by stuff?" Like, I'm like, I'm human, like, I might
that'd be
be
like a
able to in
doctor being
time.
like, "Oh, you're a doctor. Why are you getting sick?"
Exactly, I love that. See, Nina? Yeah, it wasn't the best year for me, but as a whole, the 3 years that I had at uni were amazing. But it's weird because you are local to pretty much where you went to uni. For
Mm,
me, I've been back to Cardiff a fair amount of times over the years since I've graduated. I used to go really often straight after I graduated because I still had friends studying there
yeah.
and friends who had decided to stay there to work after they'd
Right. Yeah.
graduated. So I decided to move back to London. I
Actually,
just
that was something that I wondered about you as well, because I remember everyone saying that most people will choose to live after they've graduated where they've gone to uni. And I thought, I wonder if Jess is going to move to Wales. And also to point out, you had been to Cardiff before you went there as well, didn't you? It wasn't like you were going to a completely alien city, or was it?
I didn't know it well. I'd
Okay.
been to, like, an open day. I'd been to, like, a couple of rugby matches with my dad, but
Right.
I was a bit older when I actually went to uni there, so it was a completely different experience
Right.
to what, I'd been shopping before, but yeah, not a night out,
Not
for
quite the same.
example.
Yeah,
No, no, not at
but
all.
I honestly wasn't sure if you would live there or not. Like if you were going to
I
stay there.
think, if I'm being honest, I think mostly it was because I was in a relationship and thought we both lived in London. So I
Like your
thought,
families were
well,
both from London.
yeah, so we would
Yeah.
move home and then that was for some reason in the forefront of my mind.
No, I mean,
But
I think all of us have had that sort of mindset before. When I was with someone through the first year and or was it 2 years? Oh God, I don't remember.
I think
Like
it
the
was the
first two
first
years, I
year.
think. Definitely the first
Oh,
year of uni, but I think this maybe we broke up in my second year.
yeah.
But my original thought had been like, after uni, we then moved to this place and then this and then this sort of thing.
Yeah. Yeah, and we broke up quite late in that, like, I was just before I graduated, so
Yeah,
it would have been, like, a lot to then, try and plan moving there or, like, finding
right.
someone to live with, that kind of thing. Whereas if that relationship wasn't taken into account, maybe I would have stayed and looked into either studying further there, although I don't know, I feel like I was kind of done with the studies, but maybe getting like a, work experience or like, yeah, something relevant to my degree.
You then came back. I mean, you did decide to come back to London, and then I think once you came back, I was like, I don't see you moving to Wales now. Like I didn't see,
Right.
like when you would go back for your weekend visits. I think
Mm.
maybe maybe because whenever you'd go for your weekend visits, it would then be a phone call on the Sunday being like, oh my God, this happened. And I was like, yeah, maybe she won't want to show her face around. But I think of you as quite a metropolitan, not that Cardiff isn't, but I think if you're going to be in a metropolitan city in the UK, it's going to be London, isn't it? So I
Yeah,
think
yeah.
maybe for you opportunity wise, that made sense for you being back here. I don't know. I feel like this has gone a bit off now talking about after uni, but yeah, I think it is interesting though how a lot of people do. It is quite common for people to move to where that they've gone to uni. I mean, I still live. I didn't really go anywhere. I stayed put,
Yeah,
but I was still able to meet like all of the friends that I made. None of them were from London. So if anyone's listening
right.
and they're younger or about to go to uni or whatever, and if they're maybe staying local and you're worried that you're not going to meet people, you will, because not everyone who is going to the uni that you're going to is from the local area. People have chosen to go to that uni for a reason and of choosing to move around there. And all of my close friends from uni were all from, well, actually, they were all from all over, really. Some were from
Some from
internationals.
abroad. Yeah.
Yeah, internationals. Some were mostly down from the coast, all country. Like so many of them would like take the mick out of themselves, calling themselves country bumpkins, because they were so like not familiar at all with London and like the tubes and central, and that was something that I was just so bored of. So um
Right.
when they were all like excited to do it, it was kind of funny for me, like, well, not like as in heart, like I was just like, oh wow, yeah, this is something new for people, okay, cool, and like getting to experience it through their eyes sort of thing.
Right.
So I feel like if you are going to a local university too, there's no reason why you still can't have those fun experiences and meet new people.
Definitely. Definitely. And like every time I was gonna say every time I go back to Cardiff now or have done in the past few years, it just feels so different. It feels
Does it?
alien.
Does
Oh my
it?
gosh, so much changes every time I'm there. Like your favorite bar or your favorite club is gone. Your there's like a new building's popped up,
Mm,
like some new halls. It's really, really strange and it doesn't feel like home anymore. Before it felt
right.
homely. It felt familiar only because it was familiar. Like I said, I
Yeah.
never really felt like I settled there. I didn't, put my mark on anything in terms
Right.
of like a room or anything like that. But it just feels more and more like it was in my past now.
Yeah. 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 Like you've
Mm,
moved past that moment. If you could,
mm,
I don't know if necessarily go back, but as in to redo your uni experience, but if you were to maybe go to uni again, or if you were to start uni now, do you think you would be learning something different, like doing a different degree, or do you think you'd be approaching anything differently at all? Or do you think you would do everything the
mm.
exact same way? Like, how do you think you would go about it if it was happening now?
Do you mean like at the age of 27
No,
or
no, imagine you're an
just in
18-year-old
redoing it?
now. If you're an
Okay.
18-year-old, but now, not like, oh, what would you do things differently back then? Because it's a different time now. So like,
Yeah.
how do you think you would still be studying, like you would still want to study psychology presently? Do you think that you would, I don't know, I don't know, just what would you do differently? Would you decorate? Would you make your room yours?
I think I'd still wanna move away, so I'd
Yeah.
still be somewhere that isn't at home. I think like you said about TikTok earlier, I imagine if I was 18, I'd be into TikTok and I'd have more time to be on TikTok and just find out a bit more. Maybe it would be a bit more transparent about certain courses, for example. Like, I don't know, there might be someone out there who says, he gives you a bit of a breakdown of, I don't know, what psychology is about. I still personally have an interest in that, so I don't think that would change. I think I still would have studied psychology. Maybe it would have been easier for me to find out what a potential next step would be, again, with, like,
Right.
a more, like, resources online to be able to figure out potentially what I'd do after I graduated, and that would have caused a lot less anxiety for me, I think, because that was one of the biggest triggers for me in my final year was I don't know what is coming next. I can't predict what my next step is.
Oh yeah,
Everything
you
else
were
has
on
always
one
been,
about that. Yeah, that was
oh my
not
God,
okay for
I
you.
remember talking about it with the
I think
counselor.
that was the main thing we had to keep rewording for you, wasn't it?
Oh my
Like, don't
God.
worry, tomorrow will be okay. Don't worry, it's okay if something happens that you don't know is happening tomorrow.
It's okay. Don't worry. Just mix the words around. Yeah, it was honestly terrifying for me because I just felt like everything in my life had always been planned out for me. And I
Right.
was like, I can't, like, I have to be independent, and there are so many possibilities of what can come next and I can't predict it. That was absolutely terrifying for me.
Mm,
I just thought, yeah, I just had no idea what to do. And with my degree as well, it was something that you couldn't just have a psychology degree and then go into almost like a professional role. You had to study further.
yeah.
I wasn't ready. I needed a break
Yeah.
after
Yeah,
graduating.
definitely.
I wasn't ready to jump into like a postgrad. And I think the further I've gone from graduating, that still terrifies me to go back into education. Kind of freaks me out a bit, but which is weird because I love learning new things. But I think it's kind of maybe
Maybe the environment or the way that it's done.
yeah, the kind of formal exam setting. I don't
No,
know,
thank you.
that kind of, yeah. But in summary, I absolutely loved uni. I would go over and do it all over again. And weirdly enough, I was just thinking, I don't look back at uni and think of exams. And I
Yeah.
spent so much
You think
time
of
in
all
the
the
library,
fun.
so much time studying, but I don't
Mm,
think of that. I just think of the enjoyment and the fun, which I'm really, really grateful for. So yeah,
good.
I love uni.
I feel like if I was to go to uni now, there would be quite a few things that I would want to do differently, and but not it wouldn't be that isn't to say that I didn't enjoy what I did, and I absolutely loved my time at uni. I loved the friends that I've made from it and the memories and all that sort of stuff. Beyond thrilled with the qualification that I got and stuff like that, but there are certain things that I think just due to lack of confidence or whatever I didn't do, and I
Mm.
wish I had. And for example, studying abroad, I wish I
That
had
was
done
one I
that.
was thinking of, yeah.
I
After
wish
doing
I had
that
done that
episode,
with Evie.
yeah, that
Yeah, in
really made me
season
think.
one. Yeah.
Yeah, I think exactly like you. I feel like I think I was in a bit of a Cardiff bubble, and I wish I kind of thought of possible opportunities outside of that.
I don't think I was even in a bubble. I think I just thought, oh, I can't afford that. I can't do that. That won't be for me. And I didn't even think, oh, I may have, been able to get help somehow with that or funding, or I
Mm,
don't know. I didn't challenge a lot. So therefore, I don't think I took up opportunities that I could have potentially done. And I think in some ways as well, I think if I was an 18-year-old now, I'd be questioning, should I go to uni or not? And for I don't have the same experience that you did in the sense of like your family sort of expected you to go to uni. My family
yeah,
didn't. No one in my family went to uni, other than my cousin who's older than me. He went, but I'm the only girl on my mum's side of the family. So, and no women had gone to uni in my family, so I was the first one. So it was like a big deal, especially to my granny, which is really sweet. But like, take down that photo, granny. We don't need my graduation photo when you walk in, please. If you're listening,
aw,
take it down. But yeah, I don't know. I think I'd be questioning if it's something that I needed, because I often go back and forth with this in this current day, because I'm like, does a degree necessarily guarantee you like the path you want? And at least in my pathway, I don't think that's the case. But obviously, I completely get. I wouldn't want a doctor telling me he hasn't done any degree or that they haven't done any degree. I don't want that. So I
yeah,
completely appreciate and understand that some career paths do need those types of qualifications, but I don't think all do, especially in creative industries like the ones that I want to be in and part of. I don't think it's completely necessary. However, a lot of the things that I learned were through at uni. So I don't know,
yeah,
it's a
mhm,
50-50 thing for me on that. But yeah, I feel like I would want to take advantage of opportunities around me. or seek
Mm,
more opportunities as opposed to just being complacent with what I've got. I think that's
mm,
probably the main changes that I would do if I was to do uni again, and maybe
mm.
live away from home as well.
Even if it was in the UK, like
Maybe,
in another
yeah,
city.
yeah. I think I wanted to go to Bournemouth University, but I would have liked to have gone to Falmouth University as well. So basically,
Right.
seaside beaches. I think I looked at Brighton as well, and they were all southern. I wasn't going up. So I wanted to be basically south of the country or out of the country. So that'd probably be aligns with me now, really, doesn't it?
It does.
Um, yeah. So anyone who's doing their exams right now, good luck. And if you're approaching the uni phase in your life, I'm really excited for you. Make the most of it because it will fly by. It will fly by
Yeah.
so fast.
Grab every opportunity.
Absolutely. Because honestly, it's not like a thing where I'm like, oh, I really, really, really regret this. But I do think about how things might have been different had I not taken up certain opportunities. So please try and jump on anything that comes your way because you're in
Mm,
a way better position than so many other people in the world. So why not?
yeah. Today's dedication is for a UK-based charity called studentminds.org, and their handle on Instagram is @studentminds.org. I think it's quite relevant to today's episode as we were talking about being a student and mental health in general, and how it's kind of the most prevalent time to have struggles with mental health, especially when you're going through such pressures and so much life change happening all at once. So this charity provides sort of online resources and articles on how to look after your well-being whilst you're at uni. They did a lot on coronavirus as well. So during the pandemic, I'm sure a lot of students just went through a completely different experience to us, a lot of isolation, which just adds to sort of the mental health stresses, and also advice on your well-being during exam periods as well, which is obviously highly stressful. This charity, they provide training for uni staff and also residential staff, so staff who might work in uni halls, which I think is really important as well. They have help pages, so you can select whether you're needing help for yourself or for a friend, or if you're a parent and you want support for your child as well. And they have different sort of numbers and resources on if it's an emergency. But also there's a lot of information on uni-based programs and support groups and things that they run like within universities around the UK. So it's definitely something to look out for and to read into if it's something that you feel like you need support with, or you know someone who does need support with it, or if it's something close to your heart, like could be something that you might feel like you would like to promote, or maybe donate some money to if you're able to. So that's @studentminds.org.
Okay, so thank you for listening. Make sure to stream, like, follow, share, all these good things. All the links are in description, and we'll see you for our next episode. Bye.
Bye.